Hey guys, happy 4th of July to everybody celebrating it out there, and to everybody else who doesn't, happy Thursday. I am off from work today because it's a holiday today. So I wanted to pop in and make another video. I've had lots of topics I've wanted to chat with you guys about. I just haven't either had the motivation or the time to actually make them, so now I'm playing catch up. So I wanted to get to this topic because this is actually a video that Erica Jones had made, I think last Saturday. And it's, what kind of collector are you? How do you enjoy your dolls? Are you a collector who plays with your dolls, or do you just display them? And so I wanted to add my thoughts on this particular topic because I find it very interesting, and I love hearing how all the varying collectors enjoy their dolls in so many different ways. I think that overall, I will start by saying that I think that there's no wrong way to collect and enjoy your dolls. I think that everybody is different, and we collect these babies for many various reasons. And so I'm kind of the mindset that, there is no wrong way to enjoy your doll. That's simple as that. Now, with Monroe, I will tell you that I'm a lot more hands-on than I used to be with my dolls. When I first started collecting these lifelike reborns before even silicone came around, there were one-of-a-kind clay sculptures as well as reborns. So I think in the very beginning, I was a very hands-off kind of collector. I wanted to enjoy the art, but that was also, when I very first started collecting, it was a lot of clay, one-of-a-kind dolls. So they were very fragile. And so I think that's kind of how my mindset was, is these are fragile dolls. These aren't meant to be played with. They're for display only. In my mind, that's how I viewed them because, you didn't want to break them. And so for a number of years, one-of-a-kind clay dolls, they were very popular. And then reborns had kind of come along in the middle of all of that. And they became more able to be handled regularly, changed regularly, without fear of breaking them. So I think that I handled them more, but for a long time, even when reborns were a huge part of my collection, I didn't really interact with them. I definitely didn't role play. Never had the urge to feed them a bottle or do any type of, there was no real interaction other than I would change them into cute outfits and then display them. I'm trying to think how far back. I've had multiple nurseries in different houses that I've lived in. I've always been very fortunate. So I've always had a beautiful place to display them where I could keep a crib. I could make it look like a baby nursery, so it was very realistic looking, but I was more of, let's, pose them, put them in places that looks realistic, and then leave them because they look pretty and I would just like to look at them. So then came along silicones. Silicones kind of changed my mind about how I viewed these dolls. So even though I still view them as, of course, they are works of art. They're mind-boggling, very realistic works of art to me. But they are huggable, lovable, interactive kinds of works of art now, especially now that they've added all of the features with the Drinkin' Wet, with the spine, the armatures, and all of the varying ways that make these baby dolls seem more like living babies. So the one-piece pores with the necks that are so floppy. And, so it changed kind of how a lot of collectors, especially newer collectors that never had touched a one-of-a-kind and ever felt that they were fragile. It's a different mindset for older collectors versus newer collectors. I have found that a lot of newer collectors tend to be way more interactive than most of us older collectors that started off with one-of-a-kind clay dolls. I think that it's just always in the back of your mind. You don't ever want to damage anything. And I just think that for most of us, that's where it stems from. And a lot of people ask me all the time, why don't you role play? And I think the answer is because many reasons. One, because I'm OCD. I think that's a huge part of why I don't do any type of role play. I am always And I want her to be perfect. And that's part of being obsessive compulsive. You always want things to be perfect in the in a perfect place, looking a certain way. And that carries over not only just from my personal life with how I am in my house, how I am at work, how I am in even my car, like it spills into how I want my nursery to look. It always has to be clean. It always has to be organized. There are occasional times, very rare occasional times, where I have things in the nursery that don't belong in here because I'm like Christmas time, I put presents in here, and it drives me nuts because it's stuff that shouldn't belong here. So I think that's why I tend not to be super interactive with her or with any doll. I want them to be perfect. I want them to not get damaged. It's also why I don't bathe my dolls. I have no problems watching anybody else bathe their dolls. It is to each their own, but it's just something that I'm not comfortable with and I never will be. So it goes back to seeing damage happen early on with silicone dolls and, hearing feedback from artists that really don't agree with people that are bathing their dolls. Not one artist that I've ever asked has recommended it or thought it was a good idea. So I've just kind of always stuck with that mindset. And maybe now as, we've evolved and artists have gotten more secure in how they feel about the paint and the matting and things like that, maybe they've changed their minds since I've chatted with them. But it's always going to kind of stick in the back of my mind, what if? So that's why I don't bathe my dolls, even though I know many collectors out there do, and that is absolutely fine if you want to bathe your doll. It's just not my preference. But, I wouldn't say that I'm the type of collector at this point that just sits and stares at my dolls. I don't. I hold this baby a lot. I rock her a lot. I carry her around the house with me. I take her outside with me. There's a lot of interaction that you guys don't ever see because it's not on camera. It's not something that I video. My time with this baby and the interaction that I have with her is my time with her. It's private time that I like to spend with her, like in the evenings when I'm stressed out, when I get home from work. It's a huge stress reliever for me to come into my nursery, pick up Monroe, sit in my rocking chair, and just rock with her. There's something very soothing that I enjoy about that. That is probably the biggest way that I enjoy my dolls. That's probably the type of collector I am. I am a holder and cuddler and love to rock in a chair with them. But I don't feel the need to feed her. I don't feel the need to bathe her, as I said. I love to change her and put her in different outfits. So I definitely interact with her. So I have changed over the years. I just haven't changed into role play mode, full-on type of collector, which maybe someday I will. You just never know, because I would have never thought I would be carrying her around the house with me, sitting and watching TV with her and just that sort of thing. So we all change and we evolve as collectors in many ways, and how we enjoy collecting does change as well. I think that there's a huge wide variety of ways to really enjoy your dolls. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't think there's any wrong way to enjoy the hobby. I think that there are certain things that I wouldn't do, but it's also why I enjoy watching several other channels and watching several of my friends, their videos, because they do role play and because they interact in different ways with their dolls. I think that's what I enjoy about watching their videos and seeing how they love their dolls and how they play with their dolls. And it is playing with their dolls. We do play with them. It's definitely that. I think that's what keeps us childlike, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. Some people will never understand how we, as grown women, still play with dolls, and it's like, whatever. I could care less what those people think of me, to be honest. I think that anything that brings us happiness is a wonderful thing. And for as long as I can remember, collecting some sort of doll always made me happy. From the time I was a child, I've loved baby dolls. It's never changed through all of my life, and I will continue to do the things that bring me joy, and I think that all collectors should do the same. I think it's really all about making yourself happy. I think that these dolls bring so much joy to people's lives that they're just amazing. They're just amazing. And the reason why Monroe, because I did not say this in the beginning of the video, but the reason why Monroe is just in a pair of bloomers is because it is so hot here today, guys. So she's just got a diaper and a set of bloomers on. This actually is a Jacquardie bloomers that go with a matching dress. So it's just pink with raspberries all over it, but it's just way too hot here. If she were a living baby, this is exactly how I would dress her because I would want her to stay cool. Our house is air conditioned, but because it's so hot and humid, it's not keeping up. And funny enough, yesterday it actually quit on us for a period of time, and I kind of panicked because we're used to keeping it like right at 70, no more than probably 73 degrees in the summertime. So we have to get it serviced. It is back up and running, but it's definitely struggling. So my guess is it just needs some servicing. We'll see what happens, but today is not a day we want to be without air conditioning. But she is very comfortable. It's very cool in our house today, so it's no big deal, but this is exactly how I would dress a real baby, living baby, in weather like this, just to keep them nice and cool. And I'm not going to complain about the heat, guys. It is gorgeous out. It's just super, super humid, and that's, I think, what kind of puts people over the edge. So if you're out in this weather, guys, be safe. Make sure you hydrate. Be cool. All of those things that all the weather people tell us when it's super, super warm. I think it's in the 90s with I think it's in the 90% of humidity as well. So it's definitely a whopper, but I'm going to enjoy every bit of it. And yeah, I hope you guys are all enjoying your Thursday. And that's it for this topic. I do have other topics I will be back to chat with you guys about. I'm actually working tomorrow, but then I'm off for the next week, so I will have plenty of time to make some videos. I had planned on going to the Rose Doll Show, but then changed my mind and realized that I was not going to go. We're doing a ton of housework. When I say that, we're doing we have projects going on indoors and out. So we have people here even today working on the holiday. So yeah, I'll have to try to give you some progress pictures of, we've been gardening, we've been finally planting flowers and finishing around our patio that you guys have seen. So maybe next week when I'm off, I will do an update and see if I can show you guys where we're at with things. But anyways, guys, enjoy your day, and Monroe and I will see you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.